Red Goblin looks to be a debuff buff gaining machine. Yes, indeedy. Hello everybody, welcome to a Tuesday video. We're going to be looking at the champion spotlight, the deep dive, throwing some gameplay over the top of the video as well, and talking about how this champion does look incredibly spicy, literally exploding flame from his mouth. I don't know what that was. It was just two words kind of smushed together. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Right. So one of the first things to mention is the buffs. Now, if anybody's not familiar with a lot of this stuff, True Sense, Energize, Fury, Aptitude. We all know what Fury is. What's Aptitude? What's Energize? What's True Sense? A few champions have Aptitude, mainly recently you can say that it's down to Silver Surfer Aptitude, increasing the potency of Fury, Armor Up and Precision buffs. So it's just a case of all the positive effects, the champion just gets them kind of like just ramped up to the 9. Also Energize, for anybody not familiar with Energize, you get increase the combat power rate. So that's just kind of like explain that. So power gaining, Aptitude's all about kind of your ferocity of your positive effects. And True Sense seems to be somewhat of like a True Strike amplified, saying after launching a special 3 or dropping his opponents through a health threshold, Red Goblin gains a very long duration True Sense, preventing the activation of miss or auto block ability. So yeah, it's effectively like a True Strike, but it's just rebranded in a different way. A lot of this can be seen in a deep dive, which I'm running on screen at the moment. I'll put a link to in the description. From the point of the Fury gain, the Aptitude, which looks to amplify, as we said, those Fury abilities, as well as many other ones, more on the positive effect line, and especially for damage output, especially showcasing things like the bombs. Something just to mention is this video is produced with Suicide Masteries. It does give me a little bit of a concern that that is too much of an emphasis on, okay, you want to see big numbers of debuff damage from this champion, and you want to see other elements like the frenzy and stuff like that. You're going to have to put Suicide Masteries on there to see those spicy yellow and as well debuff numbers, but we'll talk about that more in a moment. One of the key things about Red Goblin is suppression, and that's going to be the key thing. What champions you use to counter this? Already, I think Dr. Doom is going to be a good one, especially with Cosmic Ghost Rider, but again, that's another story for another video. Suppression of buffs, staggering, nullification, power control, which will be very important if you don't want to get hit by pesky special attacks, is going to be a key way to go. Initially, looking at here, Purify. Once Red Goblin gets his buffs, he can stack up a lot of debuffs on the opponent. So Purify champions, the likes of, I think it's Elsa Bloodstone, Ronin, Rogue is another example of various champions that would shrug off certain effects. And regeneration, if the opponent regenerates themselves above Red Goblin's frenzy threshold, frenzy will be removed. So that's another thing as well, is trying not to get frenzied, because it will mean for some bad times. Now your frenzy seems to be where the mechanic lies in for damage output. So when you go into frenzy, it triggers True Sense buff. It also triggers off a gain in attack rating. So this, I don't know if this will be your Fury buffs, but this will be the point of where your damage output comes in, and kind of works in like a Corvus Glaive type manner, that the more fights you win, the more bloodlust you gain, because it's a persistent charge based champion, the more damage you're going to output. It's simple stuff. So yeah, I like that fact. This champion does seem very simple to use, and as well the way that you go into special attacks might be quite important, but we'll go into that in a moment. But yeah, I like the fact that it's persistent, building the bloodlust equals more damage output. Love that combination. It's a winning combination. Now just following on for something I just mentioned a second ago, and that is the attack going into the special attacks. As you can see on screen at the moment, you do a medium attack, you get a Fury buff. You do a heavy attack, you get increased aptitude, so you get increased Fury, precision, and armor up potency. Boom, amazing. That is what I'm talking about. And the way that you kind of work that around with bloodlust, so the persistent charges equals your Fury boosting, so your attack boosting when you go into frenzy. But at the same time, if you're doing stuff and chaining into your special attacks with the likes of a medium attack, you gain the Fury. So that's the thing. That's all about getting that in. And as well, if you want to like build up power, you do the light attack, Fury, medium, heavy attack. It's all about the aptitude buff, man. That is what I like to see. But at the same time, I like the idea of Morningstar going up against his champion, spanking around with that SP2, and as well just the way that the champion works with nullification and whatnot. man, there's so many champions I'd really like to take against Red Goblin. I'm hyped for Wednesday. But at the same time, I'm hyped for the damage output potential this champion has. I'll just pause the screen from the deep dive just to showcase something. So Red Goblin, like Dave has put together, we've got 5 Bloodlust here, and as well we've got an Aptitude, we've got a Fury, we've got Energize and True Sense, and I think they say it's in Frenzy as well. So it's like there's a lot going on for damage output potential. So this is the thing, what damage you're going to see from just like a single hit is... well, it's not a huge amount. I was expecting like a big damage, but still it's like incinerating quite a bit. Maybe it's a case of like just getting it locked down to a good potential of special attack. But that's the thing, isn't it? It's going to be a case of going, look, good timing is going to be essential for the means of damage output and what you gain back from it. Carnage bombs, interesting as well. Like, I like the idea of going up against a MCOC. MCOC is quite annoying with, especially with auto block, and especially going against a 565 version today on a certain node. It is kind of annoying when you've not brought the right champions, or say you don't have a true strike or something to deal with auto block. And this could be like a good example of build up, especially if you're looking at, look, on SP2 you're throwing in some good stuff to kind of suppress. Like here we've got power drain, and each energized buff inflicts power drain. Each Fury buff inflicts armor break. So these are things that are stackable with the SP2, and the SP2 is going to be helpful. Just imagine, you're in Frenzy. You've also got all those buffs. You've got all the stuff with, as we said, the pumpkin bombs. Carnage bombs even. God, let's remember, it's the wrong thing. Carnage bombs. So yeah, you've got all these kind of like fantastic effects, reducing block proficiency, armor break, power drain, as I said. So it's handy for power suppression. But going into an SP2 and you inflict Carnage Bomb, Afterburner, after all three hits deal a burst of energy damage. So that's going to be from the Incinerate. This is going to be a very fun champion to see and also to play with. I'll get to review this champion for the CCP, but at the same time, I want one for keepsies. I don't want to give it back. I want to keep it. But, you know, I'll have to do an intensive arena grind for that. But we have had the rank changes, so that's positive for the community. Also, on a side note, it looks like Red Goblin is very good against hashtag Spider-Verse champions, which is great. We need to have more champions that kind of deal with Spider-Man. Especially, I want more options when taking on the likes of Variant 1, especially times where you go up against a Spider-Man, even for new players. Going up against a Spider-Man when you kind of like start off like, oh, he's evading all this time. What are my counters to evade? And man, I was even thinking about doing like an evade counters video and champions for that. So this is it's good. It's good inspiration for that. So I'm all hyped for this. I think on a note of playing style, this is going to be up to the player, whether or not they feel this is justified to have a Suicide Mastery for high damage output. And as well, it would be nice to see without Suicides what the damage potential is. I would also say that going from fight to fight is going to be quite important. Winning, as we all know, is incredibly important. We don't want to lose revives. We don't want to lose units to stuff. So having this champion from a point of going from fight to fight, and as well the playing of, look, do I go into get the aptitude buff first and then get a fury buff and then start attacking the field? Is that where I've got to go? Or is it a case for high hit pool fights like Act 6 compared with the likes of, say, Uncollected, Cavalier difficulty? Do I stick to more of a longer fight dynamic of trying to build up the power control side of things, the frenzy, and then it's a case of like doing all the other things with heavy attacks, with the SP2s, with the carnage bombs to try and suppress any power gain? Those are going to be key factors that a lot of players need to find out, and hopefully I can get that to them very, very soon. Now, there is a lot of info when it comes to the synergies, and I'm not going to go, you know, I can't show loads of footage. I mean, Dave's done a great job. Link is in the description to the champion deep dive, where you can check out some things. I think one of the major things was the extensive fury buff giving a 300% boost to I Am Patriot, which was just mad. But as well, it's going to be a mix match of different setups. I really want to get a Venom, so I think that's going to be my next... shout out to Corey on Twitter. He said, Rich, what's going to be your next dual class crystal? And I think it's got to be Cosmic, because I want to get that Venom so badly, so badly, and especially like improving the extent of one less bloodlust when defeated. So it's like if you make a mistake with with Red Goblin that you're not completely punished. But the fact is, you know, there's maybe some options for me to put Carnage in the rotation. Again, maybe that's another Cosmic I go for. Carnage isn't a bad champion by any stretch. It's a good champion, so I want to get that. But yeah, interested with trying out some of these. The Spider-Man Symbiote synergy, that one is pretty spicy. If you did see the deep dive, you'll know exactly what I mean. And I'll definitely look to put that into a video soon, especially with some other ones that I'm thinking about putting into there. A Spider-Man Symbiote God tier video, but it's made by Synergies, it's not by the champion. But yeah. Looks like a great champion. Deep dive really opened up some info and very excited. So looking forward to this champion's release and as well reviewing him. Thank you very much for watching this video. Please check out the Punisher 2099 video I did. It should be up there. That one was dropped last night. It's a very good video. I did really enjoy doing it. I decided to, with this one, go to different areas and kind of try out different things. All or nothing, as well as 6.2, 6.2.3 and some other areas as well to test out. Very, very fun. Go and check it out. And thanks for watching this video. See you soon.